All right, welcome to Spitfire episode 14. We have returned again because we keep taking breaks for events and all kinds of other stuff, but we are back and we are going to get into this one. Could be the what have you done? Why? Oh, that's right. It's my Discord. Don't worry. All right, we are going to get into this next one. My name is Brice. I'll be hosting this thing as well as the terrible production going on from Chris Tunn right now, which means they may be lagging on your webcam. So
I don't really know why, to be honest with you, Brice.
But more importantly, our guest for this one, of course, we are going to have MarkyB and a man with some controversy surrounding him at the moment, which I'm sure we're going to get into, Reedy. First of all, Marky, I'll ask you how you are.
I am honestly absolutely horrible, mate. I just got a blue screen and blackout, and it disconnected me out of the game. So, I mean, I'm not doing too well, but yeah, there you go.
Okay, and Reedy, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Mark range. But yeah, no, I'm doing perfectly fine.
Are you two still playing Blackout?
No, we're not. Bit upset about what happened on the weekend last week.
Yeah.
Weekend week. But you know what, man? Life goes on. We move on. Put one leg in front of the other, and we just keep on taking steps, baby. Let's get it.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah, we'll drag that back into the past in a minute. All right, we have got some topics to get through. The entirety of the PLQ and what has happened since. Interesting. The PLQ, from my mind, a little bit shocking in quite a few areas. I think it was what nobody expected. If you go back and look at our predictions, they're basically completely wrong.
Oh yeah, it's a waste of time.
It's an absolute waste of time.
Forget it.
But let's kind of go through it and figure out roughly where it comes out from here. What was the biggest surprise in the Pro League? What was in the qualifier? Let's just kick it off with a big one.
Some cunt called Dylan Envoy qualifying. Let's be honest.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh, here he is. I mean,
no, all right.
Go on.
All right. Bit of a harsh word to use, but let's be honest, man.
Bit of a harsh word.
I don't know who the hell any of them are, bar Llama. Llama's all right. I mean, he still got smoked at Vegas. But
do you know who they are? Do you know who they are? Pros.
No. Yeah, congrats, man. They done good at 5-day event. They came. I think they came dead last.
Nah.
They done well at the 5-day event, man. Congrats.
Nah, man. I'm not having it. What
do you mean you're not having it?
We're changing topic. Let's get straight into this bullshit. I'm not having it. I'm not having it, really. Let's get into things. That qualification was the best qualification for any major event in Call of Duty history. And being a veteran, as well as everybody in this chat with us, knows that over the years of history qualification, we've had some shit qualifiers. We've had qualifiers where you qualify online to go to an event and you play against one other UK team for a slot. It doesn't matter if you're the second best UK team. If you didn't get those online results and you're seeded opposite another great team, you could lose out in champs and some shit team go to champs.
Yep, I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah, it did.
This was a massive qualifier, and I will not accept that you think this is a bad format for a qualifier.
Okay. Right, so let me just quickly
we've ever had.
Let me just quickly speak, right?
All right.
The event itself, unbelievable. For a spectator point of view, that's the first time I've ever been knocked out on an event and watched and been it grabbed me. It was so good to watch, yeah? The upsets and that, so good, yeah?
Yeah.
But let's just fucking rewind it. Two event ago, right? 2 of the top 6 teams didn't qualify for the Pro League. I don't give a crap what you say. That team there that qualified 6-0 scraped their way into the last chance qualifier. Scraped their way in.
Dude, they may have done, but they got better.
Got better, over a month span?
Apparently, yes.
What, an LP fell off that bad?
Apparently so, mate.
We didn't qualify.
Apparently,
FaZe have been knocked out. Who won last year? It's not a consistent. It's not the best teams in the Pro League. That's what they said to us. They said to us the best of the best would be in the Pro League. Why the hell?
There is no other. There is
Priester not in the Pro League. Okay, team changes are going to come in, and they're going to get put in these teams. But it's not. It wasn't consistent. It's not consistent. I don't care what anyone says to me. It was not consistent. I'm going to roll it back to IW. We ignore the 2Ks. 2Ks online seeding, awful. But we had 5 European events, 5 American events to get into that Pro League. After 5 events of pure consistency on placing in the top 16, you was rewarded. The Pro League system back then wasn't the best. Okay? They've worked on that. They've improved. I'm just saying that event was amazing that we just played at, but it was not the best of the best teams in there. And I don't care. No one can disagree with me on that.
But
No
here's
one
the
can.
thing: like you can shit on that team as much as you want, right? They can only beat who's in front of them. That's it. That's all they can do.
That's fine.
We've got vetoes, right? We've had everybody ready to prep for their group well in advance. Like, there's no opportunity better than that as a qualification system. I will concede the point that, yes, I would have maybe liked to see another event. However, we are working on a schedule. Unlike some other esports, right? Our schedule is not 7 years long. We change every game. And bearing in mind that we also have champs 2 months early and before the end of the game, and obviously have to bleed in for the next game, brings us realistically down to about a 9-month cycle. We didn't have the time. That is, and also because the Pro League is longer this year.
The Pro League is longer this year.
I could see I would like to see another event.
I just think we needed another event because
it's still a fantastic qualification.
The qualification system, like, if you put that 2 months down the line, and we've had events before that, not one before Christmas. I know we had 2 months leading up to that, not one before Christmas, and then you have Christmas, New Year's. People were still grinding every single fucking day. Don't get me wrong. If you wasn't grinding, you're an idiot. My team literally had. We came on New Year's Day, and that says a lot. For me personally, because I wanted to go out and get absolutely hammered, mate. I wanted to go out, fucking do lots of naughty things and fucking have a good time. But I came on. I stayed at home, didn't do anything for New Year's, and I wanted to put the effort in because I wanted to qualify. That's what I wanted to do. But I just don't think it being one event so close, and then it was literally 4 weeks, basically, till the new event, and until the Pro League qualifier. It's too close. I am on. And then we need, like...
First of all, right, this is way more coherent than your Twitter argument, which was frankly embarrassing.
I was fucking absolutely slaughtered, and I was just going for people. And I don't care about that, because that's who I am. You either love me or hate me. I'm like, Mama, I'll say what's on my fucking mind.
I know, and sometimes it's a dumb idea to do that, Reedy.
I don't care.
What comes out of your mouth is bullshit. And you just need to, like... We can discuss it here, but, like, it was one of the most embarrassing things I've seen. Because here's the issue with what you said, right? Is your tweets didn't acknowledge that this is the best qualification method we've ever had. The points conceded.
No, but my tweets were also more like the qualification. Like, I didn't put my disqualification. Like, I know it was the best. Yeah, it's definitely hands down the most fairest.
Yes,
but it's still not in the same terms of consistency, where it was literally one event, and then 4 weeks later you're struck straight in. And then, could you imagine if Optic didn't qualify? Could you just imagine the uproar?
Yeah, but they did. FaZe didn't qualify.
Yeah, but they done so good at the first
and
event,
FaZe didn't even look great in Vegas. We said FaZe might have an issue. Yeah. They didn't get any better. They come top 16 at Vegas. They didn't make the Pro League. Look, I'm sorry. There are some fantastic players on FaZe, but that team clearly didn't work over an extended period, and it was close.
Yeah,
and
but
they did have the opportunity.
That's the thing. That's the thing. They didn't.
If we had another event and they come, you're saying, oh yeah, some of the best teams didn't make it into the Pro League. Well, could you imagine if we'd gone into this and it had only been like 16 teams flown out or whatever, and the top 8 from Vegas auto qualified, and then 8, 61, and we had like a single wheeling bracket or a double wheeling bracket. We had full groups where you could run in and get a good LAN practice. And 70% of the group, really, 70% of the group was still in, and as we moved into day 4. And then day 4, right? Then we finally got some auto qualifications, and then we got the bracket. Another opportunity, another double elimination bracket for you to run through.
Okay, so let me just
quite simply the best way I have seen a qualifier run, and
definitely is the best.
And the issue I have with your tweets, in so many ways, is I can understand if you were mad about the fact there's no relegation this year.
Yep, I am.
There's no opportunity to get back into it. Right? Yep. I can understand that as a point as a professional, right? And I can understand, the way it's going to affect your career and the way it's going to, go moving forward, because it's clearly going towards a franchising thing. Nothing's been confirmed, but the writing's on the wall, and if you can't see it, it's mad. But you've got to be realistic with this, and full credit to MLG, right? It is quite simply, not only was it a fantastic watch, it is the best method of qualifying I have seen.
It definitely was 100%. We're fucking tuning up, boys. Eden Hazard, we're tuning up. Sorry.
Something to tune up.
So right, I'm not disagreeing that. It's just like the timing of it in my eyes was so bad. Like, all right, so we take FaZe or LP, yeah, or we'll take LP and Team Sween.
Yeah.
The first event they came top 6, yeah. The next event is their biggest event of the year. Literally the biggest. Like, if we have another event in between this, they could have still done what they done this weekend, but they could have switched it up. Like, players like Alex should not be missing the fucking Pro League. I'm sorry.
And they might
Brice
not.
Should not, but they will. This is the thing.
They might go on somewhere. Someone might make...
Brice will probably all get in, but someone like Alex, I generally can't see where he's going to fit in.
Yeah, I don't see Alex squeezing in. I honestly
and
think
he should be in there, man.
The majority of European players are.
I agree, but you have to be realistic. Like, if it all worked out hunky dory, right? Not a word would be said, and everybody's sitting there, and in a room, all hugging each other, going, "Oh, this is the best qualification we've ever had." And that's a polite way of putting that. Just so you're aware, that wasn't what I was going to say. You've got to get over this. Like, yeah, of course, no system is perfect, right? Of course, no system is perfect. But like some of these teams, we worked out 5 opportunities to qualify for that Pro League. 5, right? They lost 5 matches, and if they had won any of those matches, they would have qualified for the Pro League. 5.
It's just so easy to say it like that, though, man. But like, as being a competitor and stuff, like taking a step back at an event and then trying to like. Yeah, they had 5 opportunities, but I'm
not saying this just to be
such an on the day thing.
I don't agree, because some of the people I respect, admire, and I consider friends didn't make it in that Pro League. Yourself being one of them, although I do think there were better players than you that did make it in, right? And I get that, and I get how much it means. It sets up the entire year. We've been saying this since it came in, and we even said at Vegas, Vegas could pretty much set up your entire year, and then the PLQ was the next step. But look at what they went to. I refuse to acknowledge any incompetence on MLG's part when they fly out 28 teams to an event to play over 5 days. I refuse to concede that point. Take issue with the rest of the year. Take issue with the amount of events. It's fine. I can concede those.
That's where I fucking put it wrong in the tweets. Exactly. I generally thought the event was unreal, but the system itself, in terms of after the event, prior to the event, the placing of the event, I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with it. Like, shoot me. Like, what people want to fucking come at my neck and stuff. I've spoken to some of them, not majority. I've spoken to about 5 pros. I'm not going to name them, but there's these fans' favorite players, and these fans that were calling me a fucking idiot, and the people, like, when Adam put that tweet out to me saying like I was taking a cheap shot, honestly, it was a cheap shot. And at the end of the day, I think
your tweets were stupid. There's no other way to put them. If you could put yourself out there a little bit more coherently, to the point where you can actually debate your facts properly and give credit where it is due, because it is due, then people would have probably not been jumping down your neck as much, really.
Yeah, well,
100%.
At the end of the day, I don't know how we haven't got a relegation, because I'm sorry, for a yearly game and it to be, for me, basically over on January 22nd is kind of fucked up.
All right, we're going to move on, because we are on the.
Let me throw my 2 cents.
Marky here, yeah, that's good.
I think in general there's problems with every single system they do. Like, for example, we referenced IW, which obviously was like 5 events. But the issue with that, there's also issues with that as well, because it's unfair on some of those teams, because some of those teams are going through open brackets, so they're also at a disadvantage because they're playing best of 3s, whereas us Pro League teams that pretty much got through were guaranteed. Like last year, for example, that's what happened to me. I was in open bracket every event, and I wasn't able to qualify. I had to go through best of 3s throughout the whole way, and I still feel like that's also not a fair way of qualifying. I feel like whatever qualification method you do, it's kind of, there's always going to be negatives to it. I think this one has clear negatives. The other ones have negatives. Every qualifier they've ever done is going to have a downside.
Yeah.
But yes, I just really can't point out a clearer way of being like, yeah, that's the correct way of doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pitch in as well. I think, the event itself, you're not going to please everyone. That's the thing. I think the biggest complaint seems to be there's no relegation. There's no other way to get in.
Yeah. And there's no other fucking way to play these best teams as an AM player. Like, fuck me. When they brought this idea up to us last year, it was just an idea at the time. I don't know what fucking idiots in that room, because I know for a fact myself, I said this is a bad idea. They gave us a survey. They listened to the players. MLG actually listened to people. They do listen to the players. So people must have fucking filled that form out, and they're fucking idiots, man. I don't care what people say. If they said they wanted one whole season, actually, no, I might have been one of the people that said I wanted the one whole season, but they wanted relegation. I did not like the fucking fact that events would be separated. Like, why the fuck? Like, I want to be playing against Jerd. I want to be smoking him. He's shit. You know what I mean? Jerd. He's just Jerd. But I still want to be sitting him down mid-map on S&D with my sniper, but I can't do that this year. I won't be able to do that.
I think the issue, we've talked about the issue with this before, is that like I feel like this year wouldn't be as bad, but typically in previous years, there's been times, sorry, we just dropped a few frames, that should be okay. Yeah, we good. Right, so not sure what that happened.
Everyone try not to move too much.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with the stream today. It's been all over the shop. But I think the thing is that this year the competition is higher again. But on previous years, there's been times where teams will come into pools or whatever and then get smoked, and it's not good to watch. And I think that's their issue, is that, you know, these teams come in and 90% of the time they get smoked off the pro teams. So that was the reasoning, I think, behind not having them allowed in, which I can understand. But then at the same time, it does halt the progress of players who are wanting to.
It's also a logistical nightmare, Tunn.
Yeah,
but what about the hero stories of the teams that have came out open bracket and then made runs? Happen, though? It happens every year. There's one team every year.
That was horrific.
It does happen though. Like, I've done it. I've came top 6 through open bracket. I've last year, I'm pretty sure FaZe got top 4 through open bracket. It happens every year. There is. I'm not saying it happens every event, but it does happen. I'm going to say multiple times in a year. I'm pretty sure it happened more than once last year. I could be wrong on that. I'm just pulling that Mars, to be honest. But I think the double punch. I think the main issue is, in a lot of players' minds, is they've went all in on the whole separation of own pro and am, like so deep on it. For example, what they could have done was have one season in the Pro League with no relegation, but these open events are the times where people can get the opportunity to play against pro teams. Or flip it on its head, they still do it the way they've got it now, where the open events you play the teams, no one comes to open bracket, but it is 2 seasons and there is a relegation, so there's still an opportunity for the teams to come in and then be in that for the next event. They will be in the pool play. I think they all went all in one direction. They went for the full segregation of the pro and ams, whereas there could have been like a halfway in between sort of thing.
And there is only one reason for that though, Mark.
Well, I mean,
that is literally setting it up for franchising. That's how franchising works at the end of the day.
It does.
That's how the Overwatch League works.
So here's the thing that I need to put in at this point. Like, on my own part, like, just this means nobody else has to say anything if they don't want to. I have not been told through any official channel by anybody, and this is genuine, by anybody working in the CWL, MLG, Activision Blizzard, or anybody, that it's going to franchising. But the stuff I've seen come out of the finance meetings and the stuff that's been reported by people like Richard Lewis and all that sort of stuff does all point towards franchising. And if you were going to write a 3-year plan of how to move Call of Duty from where it is now into franchising, we look like we are literally completing the steps.
Yeah, 100%.
Bit by bit. And
that's the thing that sucks.
Of course, I made a video 2 years ago saying why Call of Duty thrives on open events. It's the only esport that really does it like this. It really is, and it's a good reason why it doesn't work in some places. It is an absolute nightmare to throw a big open event. I know I've been involved in every possible situation involved in that, and I still haven't even come close to the size of events that MLG are running. So I can only imagine the absolute headaches it is to spin up events that size on a frequent basis and have as little problems as they actually have. And the money, the sheer amount of money it costs to do that system is mind-blowing.
It costs a lot. I mean, a lot
you
of
can't
people
make money on it.
Yeah, a lot of people like sort of ask why there's not as many events in Europe and there's not independent events. It's because they're expensive. Like a lot of people don't understand that, which I can't get my head around. That it's not a business where you make money in by hosting open events. It doesn't work like that. So that's another reason. It's a big reason as to why. And I think, ultimately, I feel like I could be talking rubbish here, but I feel like they work on last year's, like how last year went. That's what their budget's going to be for next year. So obviously IW in World War II didn't do fantastic as previous other Call of Duties have done. So I feel like that's probably affected some of the ways that the league's being run. I want to say that's a stab in the dark, by the way. I don't actually know that for a fact. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely something to do with it. And obviously, we've seen some things. Obviously, I've been scrimped and scraped on this case. Like, as many like open events this year seems to be the case. You would think.
But they just cost an awful lot of money.
Oh shit!
Well, they're still doing open events. They're just going to have the amateur
they're still
tournaments. The cost hasn't changed.
No,
the
but there's
cost
not as
hasn't
many.
changed.
There's not as many.
There's not as many.
Oh yeah, there's not many
What was
events.
that?
Yeah. Okay, but
So here's a point, like, because I know we've got some pros in the chat. I think I saw Rated, B Sport. I even think I saw Urban in there. Urban is in there. Yeah. Here's the thing that Josh put in the chat. He said, it just sucks that they can't place better than 17th for the rest of the year. And I think that's another big blow to pros' main thing. It's like being outside the pro league is. I think you could have probably taken it if you could go to open events and be like, you know what, we're still going to smash and get into that thing and prove to these people that we are consistent. But I can get the fact that you don't get that opportunity to come back until champs.
Yeah.
Look what LP did last year. You see that team of Goon, Royalty, and that? Like, they weren't in the pro league, but they kept on going to events. And they kept on placing like in the top 8, top 12, and they were renowned like a pretty good team that quote unquote should have been in the pro league.
Yeah. I think,
but they never, no one ever picked them up or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like that's just how COD should be, man. Like,
I think it's
in
like
terms
being
of
a bit of a double-edged sword in that respect. Of that,
I think it was a
made
big change. Just be glad we still have double elim.
Yeah, like the fact that they've made it to the point of where you can't go into pools and there's only one season, so there's not really any opportunity for the rest. Yeah, outside of champs, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I would like to see them maybe do one of those things. Like pro league teams. Yeah, okay, they get their spots certified for the rest of the year in pools, but at the same time, like, at least let maybe the top 4 of open come in. Just like it doesn't have to be necessarily like as many as they used to, because I think that was probably the issue. Maybe don't cut it completely. Maybe just do the top 4 who finish out of open, amateur, whatever you want to call it. They're going to win, and then they go into it. But as I said, it's logistics as well, that we have to wait on that open tournament finishing, which is not going to be possible.
And we've all seen what is usually what I call shit Saturday mornings.
Oh yeah,
which is when the open ranking team's coming, and we just watch them body them for 4 hours. That's all it was. Oh, can't wait to watch this 3-0, guys.
Yeah,
you know how this one's going to go.
Tunn, you got to start an alpha this morning. It's 2 teams who one team is going to smoke the other one. And
You'll be back in 30 minutes. You'll be back in 30 minutes.
Get you back on.
Let's move on here because I felt like that needed to be said. Mainly between me and Reedy, we've actually playing earlier today.
Mark just played a game of Blackout.
Yeah, we were gearing up for that one to kind of get out here, but I think it adds some context to Reedy's tweets in the way that Reedy didn't, which is why there has been Reddit threads and Twitter threads and people calling out people on shows and stuff, and I got that. I just felt like it needed to. This was a good opportunity for Reedy to at least add some context for me and me to call him a fucking idiot. So, let's move on from that point then, because we've still got tons to cover. The PLQ here. Let's talk about let's highlight a team to begin with, and it's not going to be Midnight because Radio jumped straight back into the same old argument. Let's talk about 100 Thieves. Team people were worried about going into this tournament.
I was worried through, to be honest.
I was worried right up until it all went well. I was like, oh, okay, they're going to be...
They even it went well. They still look kind of shaky every series. They had like games where they came back from 1-5 down. Yeah. I mean, realistically, if they were in another pool, they may have not qualified.
Yeah. I think they had probably what you would argue is the easiest pool. And then the 2 other apparent top 2 teams in that pool also shit the bed. So Pittsburgh Knights of Team Space also didn't play very well. So I think that really helped. I think, you put them in another one of the pools, then they're in trouble. Pool A or Pool B specifically. But yeah, when they were 2-0 down against Mesa, who hadn't won a map before that was when you were like, holy shit, they might actually not qualify. And that was really when it started to get a little bit scary for them. I mean, I had them outside the top 2 anyway. I think that was pretty much... I actually completely got that wrong in the end. I mean, let's be honest, as said, everyone got their predictions wrong. This could not have been further from what everyone predicted.
Here's something else to point out. That was the 5-team pool, right? 5 teams from that pool got in.
Yes.
Yeah. I genuinely don't think that if they had got into bracket, though, that they would have made it, genuinely. I don't think they would have.
Struggled, because there was a lot of good team in the bracket.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think obviously they theoretically, if the way everyone's seen it, obviously they had 5 teams that got through eventually. I think that the teams that were expected to get through, like Space, I always assumed they were going to sort of turn it around and start doing well. And then who else made it through? Did they have Accelerate in their pool?
No. Actually, they did have Accelerate.
It was pool. It was Pittsburgh Knights, 100 Thieves, Space, Overtime, Mesa, Accelerate. Yeah, Accelerate was in there. And Midnight, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they obviously got through. If they'd gone into bracket, it might have been spicy. I mean, they could have still maybe turned it around. They had some crazy comebacks. 1-5 down last map against Spacely. Yeah. Reverse swept Mazar.
Yeah. They came up clutch when they needed to. They really did. Yeah. I think, like, you know, you want to look at, like, and that was typically what we sort of expected to be the weaker pool. But then you look at the bracket, like teams who didn't make it out of, or you can count the different teams that didn't make it in the bracket, and then teams that didn't make it through the bracket. G2, Team Sween, Mind Freak, 3 good teams eventually. Well, I'm sure Brice is going to bring up the Mind Freak thing soon. But, like 3 good teams who went to bracket and didn't even make it from there. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It was super difficult. I think all the pools sort of threw a spanner in the works at some point. I think the only team that was fully expected to get through and did perform as expected was pretty much Envy. That was it.
Yeah, looking at that, Wrestle Prostate didn't do too bad.
Rec as well. I think Rec's group was quite difficult, so they did really well to qualify, I think.
Yeah, Rec just lost against the teams they weren't expected to have any chance of losing to.
They lost against Divine, did I see that?
Yeah, they lost 3-0 to Divine, but they 3-0 Team Sween.
Yeah, they lost to Divine and FaZe Black, so those are the 2 teams that you would expect them to sort of beat, and then they won every other game.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep kind of jumping through because we've got so much to cover anyway. So we'll come back to teams and stuff.
Yeah.
From 100 Thieves worried about them to what is still breaking my heart to this day, the Lightning Pandas.
Yeah.
It's difficult to quantify. Like, I'll be honest with you, there was a good part of me which just wondered if they hadn't turned up to the event and somebody else is wearing their skin because. A team that came 6th to Vegas and looked like they had it figured out doesn't win.
It's not even like they got the bracket and they lost to a good team to get through in the last spot. They went 0-6 in pool. I mean, I know, Reedy, you were talking about, you know, you have one bad weekend, but that is like, I mean, I love those guys.
That's not acceptable at all. Don't get me wrong. But there's still so many other factors that come into play. Like, they're all young kids. I mean, that's why I kept on pushing. Like, there should have been a more event. Like, you never know what could have been going through their heads. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I got on the plane and got off the plane, I was a bit fucking nervous, and I'm a fucking vet. That weekend meant everything. Yeah, I was a little bit nervous.
I'd argue they've got veterans on that team.
Still fucking held my own against fucking everyone and played with confidence. I don't know if that's what happened and they just made stupid mistakes. I haven't spoken to them on that level, but
I don't know. Like, I didn't see many of their games. But
here's the thing: like, you could justify them losing to Envy or G2 and possibly Heretics, but to lose to Tainted Mind, I mean, Fact Revolution is not a bad team anyway. Or Giants, like the hell, man. Like,
I mean,
they would have bet on that. I would have put a tenner on them losing to them, man. Like.
I don't think they really lost to Tainted Minds. They probably would have won last match if they played it, but
I mean,
they kind of fucked up bad.
Yeah, did you watch that? Like, because obviously that wasn't live streamed.
I did watch it. It was heartbreaking.
They were pretty much dominant throughout the because for anyone in the stream who didn't know, Lightning Pandas when they were somehow at 0-5 still in, because of the way the bracket the group had played out, and they were playing against TM, and they needed to win 3-0 or 3-1. They won first map, lost second, won control, then went to the hard point and literally, I mean, Reedy, you can back me up here. They had it locked. It looked as if it was all but them, and Swifty comes up with some mad three-piece. Was it? Sorry, I couldn't remember if it was him or Swifty.
It was on P2 Seaside. He just came in, rattled 2 people, and then Dave had to reload, which was so unfortunate. Killed Dave, and then the Lightning Pandas team fucking flooded in, broke the hill. But Tainted Mind needed 5 to contest 5 seconds. This kid's just run in, contested, and then won the rotation to P3, which they were never once they were set up at P3, they weren't ever going to lose.
It was really tough to watch.
And if they won that map, they would have gone through to bracket, which I generally think if they got to bracket and they started hitting form again, Like,
Oh,
had a
yeah.
bit of confidence in themselves,
Yeah,
they would have been fine. I just generally think that was a massive confidence thing that weekend for them. I don't think it was anything to do with them playing shit or forgetting how to play the game. I just generally think it was a massive confidence thing.
Even like the matches, they if they had like, I feel like the way their schedule was could even have played a factor. I mean, there's so many variables. Obviously the pressure, but like things when your first game is against, was their first game like Heretics, I believe it was.
Yeah,
First game against Heretics, so they've got a tough game to start with, but also one of those games that is like, oh, everyone's expecting us to win this. So it's kind of like one of those ones that like the pressure's on, but you also know they're a threat. They come in there, they lose that one, and then they just have an absolute disaster against Giants. Then they're sitting there on that after that. I think that was their first day. They lost both of those games.
Nah, they played 2 games, so they lost to Heretics, went back to the hotel next day.
Okay.
Had 1 game against Giants,
Yeah.
lost that, then had to go back to the hotel. Like, that must have been a head fuck, man.
So they were sitting there like 0-2, and they've got 4 games left, and then their hardest games are coming up. So like at the time, they probably didn't think, oh, these are must-win games. Even though they were like the Giants game, for example, was probably their easiest game. You'd say you're on paper anyway. I would say
Should
so.
have beaten them. I don't understand.
But the thing is, they're probably not sitting there thinking mentally, oh, this is a must-win game. We need to win this, or we're not going to be in the league. But then after they lose that, they're like, oh, we have tougher games coming up. Oh, there's a potential we don't make it here. We have to now start to cause upsets. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like those first 2 games were mad, like mind fucks for those players. I mean, I obviously don't know what was going on in their heads, and I feel like over a whole season, they would be a top 16 team quite easily. Just throw that in the mixture. But I think that whatever happened, everything I've been part. I've had those weekends. Every single thing that can go wrong seemed like it went wrong for them, and that's just absolutely sad to see.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
I was really sad,
and I think that will go. That should go down as one of the most bizarre things I've seen happen to a team ever. Yeah. Like, Sween got all the way through and all stuff, but to see that happen, and just think of the names on this team, right? People like Mad Cat, who's been around forever and been playing well, and he isn't playing bad. Like, it wasn't a team of terrible players. It just wasn't. This is like good pro level players, and they just shit everywhere.
Yeah, you don't. I'd say that.
The worst thing is, I love the players on this team. We hung out with them after Vegas. Like, it just blew my mind. I honestly,
they went in bits at home, smoking a lot of good teams to not being able to beat Giants, and I don't know. You can say you have a bad weekend, but wow, I was beside myself when they went.
But here's the thing: even on a bad weekend, I don't think that would have happened.
Even on a bad weekend, they should be doing better.
I just don't understand. All right, I tell you what, let's move on, because I don't want to dwell on that too long before I cry on camera. I figured out a way to kind of break this down a little bit easier now. A format that we can kind of go through the teams. So we're going to leave the disappointments to one side for a second, and we're just going to break it down by division. So we need to ignore Optic and Luminosity for the first one. Still briefly about Midday Esports. They kind of came into it firing.
Yeah. I know Rudy wants to say something, but what I will say is that, Midnight have done what they needed to do. I feel like they got put into a pool where the top 3 teams we expected to be really did shit the bed, and that helped them. And I'm not going to discredit them, because they still went and played their game and they played well.
You've got to give them credit, man.
100%,
they beat everybody 100%. In front of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is they beat everybody in front of them, which is all they needed to do. And yeah, I think, you put them in another one of the groups and they struggle a bit more. I feel as if, coming into Pro League, I don't think they're going to look like a 6-0 team. I feel like you put them up against the big boys and they will struggle. The same with a lot of these teams who didn't make it. But, all credit due to them. They look good in their games they played against everybody else. I mean, got some confidence and started running through teams, really. I mean, a lot of them were 3-0s and they looked very, very good. For all Rudy was calling Envoy looked really good against these teams. So
yeah, man.
He actually did, though. He did look good. So I'll just
peep the GOAT's reaction when he can't even make a simple trade, man. Peep the GOAT's reaction. Gets brought into Big Boy 8s and he can't even make a simple trade. I'm sorry, yeah. My man, all right, maybe he might be, but that team, come 2 months' time, are going to be completely fucking different. So that Brook cunt saying he can beat me with his hands tied behind his back, Ha, good try, buddy. I smoked your team last year at relegation, and I smoked fucking Llama at fucking Vegas. Beg you even try step to me on a fucking game of COD.
All right, let's. Okay.
Oh, there's no danger of that happening.
Not happening.
I would just
look, they saved him. You can't play me this year. I'd actually happily throw up $1,000 against him right now. Money 8s. I'll play with you 3 and still beat him. I don't care.
I have no part of this.
Right, regain. Anyway,
Please, Marky, please. What do you think, Mark?
I would just like to throw in the mixture that Brat guy sent me to retirement. He was he was my very last series that I've ever played on LAN. I got beat off him.
Wait, who was that guy with all the numbers in his name?
No, he started off a hard point against me, 24-2. Anaheim, was it? No,
no, Seattle.
It was Seattle.
It was Seattle when you lost the relegation.
24-2 he started, and that was me on the retirement home.
That says a lot about the guy, man.
I'm not roasting.
That says a lot about him, bro. You lose to that guy, you're retiring. You know what I'm saying, Mark?
No. I'm not roasting him. I think he's a good player.
Yeah,
he's got my estimations. Knowing that, I didn't know that before. I think, right, Reedy aside, and I will think we need to put Reedy to one side just for this topic, just at the second, because we need to. They credit to them, right? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out, just how well they're gonna do, and if they're still smashing people in 6 months, and Reedy, you probably owe them an apology. Not that I expect them to even get one. But,
no, don't get an apology. But it's not gonna be the same team. I can put money on it.
Well, admittedly, I can see where you're coming from. I expect to see some movement, especially when the transfer windows open up. Yeah, just because there's so many good players outside the league, and who gets replaced, I don't know. But let's talk about that actually, because I was going to say it for later on, but it seems like a good time to talk about the midnight controversy. Now, this is just rumors. Yeah. This is just speculation. Nobody has been told anything official. The only official statement I've seen is that Midnight have said we are not looking to sell our players or our spot, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So can I jump into this?
I need to explain the situation before we jump into it. There has been speculation that players on Midnight have either been offered a bigger contract with another org that's looking to buy the spot out, or players being traded in and out. There was a call for a lawyer on Twitter, and we don't know what that was in relation to. The speculation is that something is going on with the contracts in Midnight. What I was told, I think, is that it was a 1 month contract they signed with Midnight, with the kind of the thing of, obviously we'll go to maybe a bigger org or someone who can pay us significantly better down the line. However, the issue being is that the org actually owns the spot now, and it looks like they are keeping their hands firmly in the Call of Duty pool.
Yes.
Jump in, Tom.
Yeah, it was just to clear it up. Yeah. It was just clear it up for everyone in the chat that the organization owns the license, and that's it as far as I'm concerned. I feel like you need to hold on to 3 of the players that qualified at least at the first transfer window. Something like that.
No,
Mark,
you can't make a change until the first transfer window unless you put a player in as your sub and then you sub them in for the first games.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, let's use Midnight as an example, right? Say they wanted to get Priest on their team. They could drop Envoy, get him Priest up, play for the first couple of games. He would be on the sub roster. Envoy would be obviously on the starting, but doesn't need to theoretically play. And then obviously the roster change period, they could actually move Priest at the starting spot, maybe trade Envoy to another team, for example. But yeah, I mean, it means no more than one change can be made realistically, and you can also only change one player in that is not qualified, so that you can't exactly go to 100 Thieves and take Kenny, for example, and bring him in your team. There's no cross trades between teams that are already in the CWL.
Okay.
Until the roster change period.
Yeah, okay. Which is in March.
Yeah. Before Dallas. It's before Dallas.
Yeah.
So here's the issue is what I'm seeing is, and this is something that I want to cover quick before we move on, because I know there's still so much to cover. It's an issue that has come up time and time again in Call of Duty, and I have worked in the background with players before and helping them with their contracts. And I've always said I'm not a lawyer, but I will quite happily sit down and talk with you what your expectations are and what you should be expecting to see. I feel like, obviously, because Midnight were an outside chance, they don't know what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And I feel like now this is the pushback.
So To dumb it down, in my eyes, they didn't expect to qualify. They signed a dumb contract, probably that would give them money for turning up to the event representing Midnight.
Yeah.
And they've qualified for the league. Now they want to leave, and they can't. That's the way I see it.
The way I see it is slightly different to that. Is that maybe they did expect to qualify, but because they're so inexperienced that they didn't think, we should put all these different things in our contract.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's another way of looking at it.
I know for a fact
sorry.
you two have learned that the hard way.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's like a lot of experience needed for that sort of.
If they
most of the
expected to
teams.
qualify, why didn't they do what Team Sweden done and Spacely and that done?
Yeah,
Even though it kind of in a roundabout way, it kind of bit Team Sweden in the arse, but they didn't need to sign a contract to go to that event under an org. They've only done that to get a bit of money for the event to represent the org, and I don't care what anyone fucking says. And Chelsea have just conceded.
I think
That's literally the reason, because you see all these orgs that plays in that, like, we can represent you at this event. I know that's what Team Divine did. They represented Team Divine for a bit of money to represent them at the Pro League qualifier. That the org going to probably give them a couple £100 here and there to represent them. That's what Midnight have done, 100%, and you can't convince me otherwise. And now they're upset because they've signed a contract and Midnight are holding them to it. Even if it's a month contract, why'd you sign a month contract? Who does that?
it's especially with the PLQ. But here's the thing: nobody tells these players. You know, I've sat with players before. I've sat in meetings with recently where I'm talking with players and we're talking about what you need to put in those contracts. I said, no, we don't need to put it. I was like, no, put it in. I was like, trust me, because 6 months down the line, if you need it, the guy said, oh yeah, we'll do it for you. He's gone. He's like, never said that. Don't know what you mean. Not in writing. Fuck you. Do as you're told. That's it. And it's happened. It's happened every year in the last 8 years. And I feel so bad for them. But on the same time, don't complain on Twitter. Like, if you want to get a lawyer, get a lawyer. Don't complain on Twitter. You can't do anything about it. We've seen it with teams year in and year out. And they are in a horrible position now. A horrible, horrible position. Because Midnight do own a good amount of power, and they paid for that power. You sold that power away. You sold that power. You did it in a stupid way. If this is what has gone on, by the way, like, this is all complete speculation. I have no idea.
That's definitely what happened. I'm sorry, Brice. You can't. I know for a fact everyone's going to pussyfoot around it, but there's literally no way in hell that is not what's happened. What I've just said there. They've sold it for they've signed a contract for $500 probably, maybe even less.
Yeah.
Well, it's speculation. We've all.
It technically is, but it technically isn't.
Yeah, that's what
we'll agree to disagree.
That's what
okay. I think I'm going to take the opportunity to drag us back onto topic then. Evil Geniuses is the team next on that roster. Good job, Roy, Fellow Exotic, and Facento. Good luck, Facento. Got a great name. Yeah, got a great name.
Brice is the fucking MVP.
He fucking turned up, didn't he?
I've never played someone that came more with so much fire and determination.
I was really cooking. Surprised. He was cooking. Like, I mean, we haven't seen Facento do that for a while.
Kentucky fried my shit.
Like,
the worst thing is I told fucking Fellow to pick him up when he got dropped from G2, and then he comes in and Kentucky fries my shit like that. I'm just like, huh? Excuse me, can you throw me a fucking blue?
That is tough.
That is tough.
But yeah, they played really well. They played really well, and they were probably one of the other teams that you could argue. Like, Envy looked really good.
No,
like,
UIU.
No, yeah, UIU again. Like, Red Reserve just can't beat them.
We'll get onto them in a minute.
Yeah.
God damn it, man.
I'm sure Red will be in the chat letting us know why, because I don't know why.
EG. This is a team where, you know what, they have. I think seeing Goonjar back at the top, like firing on all things, is a great thing to see, because he kind of had a little bit of an outside for a little while, and now he's back, and this team looks really, really pretty good. I'm wondering just how far they can go, and this may be like the next. I think they've got a good mix of players with potential that can certainly, you know, like Reedy said, to paraphrase, Kentucky Fry. That's the most poshest thing I've ever said for some reason, even in that accent. Kentucky Fry. But no, I think they deserve to be in the Pro League. Like, their performance was superb for this team. And it was one of the ones where there were question marks before the event whether or not they would do it. Turns out it wasn't anywhere near as hard as we thought it would be.
They've got a good balance. I think they've got a good balance of talent, experience, and also you got to look at like players like Gunjar and Royalty, etc. They've all been in the Pro Leagues before, but like everyone's been saying in the last couple of years, they've been on the outside looking in, and that also provides the hunger for them to like be able to like bring it back, sort of thing. Like these guys are experienced. Like Gunjar's played in finals of big tournaments. He's a solid AR, so I think that they've just got a good balance overall.
I'm looking forward to seeing whether EG improve from here because they already look pretty good at the PLQ. I want to see if this becomes more than just a middle of the pack team.
Yeah,
which is where you
gets his sniping up. He needs to get that sniper up, bro. He was easy pickings.
Yeah, I think that I can see that. I can see on paper the issues with maybe them making like a drastic, like with those 5 players anyway, being like that much better than what they've already shown. But I think they've got Revan, obviously, good coach, and then they've got just good heads on them in general, to be fair. So I can see them putting the work in.
I forgot about
sometimes
that. Revan is their coach.
Yeah, sometimes the work doesn't always turn into results, but I can definitely see them putting the work in to become the best and try and obviously push towards those upper ends of tournaments. I think that they do have that drive, but we'll see if that turns into results.
Yeah, I think people are also. I think pros are starting to realize that a good coach is a good thing.
Yeah,
like it can help and it will help.
I wonder when Marty will realise.
When they get a good coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. they need to sack me, get someone else.
You put the work in. Don't understand.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's move on.
I did nothing, man. I did fuck all. I just chill my feet up, just watch.
Marty's sitting there.
Just watch Donny.
What's he talking about?
I hope he's talking shit. I just sit my feet up and watch Donny Temp just do bits on the map.
Yeah, you got an easy job. You had the most relaxed PLQ ever. You're like, I love watching this.
Yeah, I was loving it.
Let's move on then to UIU, which is a team of enigmas because of the way their results went. So back in Vegas, this team reverse swept Reedy, but then Reedy beats them at the PLQ. But then they beat Red Reserve, and they beat. That's the second time they beat Red Reserve as well.
Yep.
I think it's more than second.
Is it?
Yeah, Spoose.
Are you talking on this game?
This game.
Yeah, sorry, this game.
I'm just going a second. But
Yeah.
Spoose has she literally had Reese Price's number firmly in his phone book
For years.
for years.
For years.
I know only Spoose.
I'm pretty sure that Spoof and Mayhem might have. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they must have the best record against Red Reserve out of any team in the league. For sure. I'm pretty sure that's a fact at this point.
Outside of the former Rise team, maybe.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
probably. Yeah. Outside of Rise, yeah. They're in fact, probably better than Rise. Because they beat Rise in series. I'm pretty sure Spoof and Mayhem are probably undefeated against Red in the last 5 series.
Fucking crazy.
All right, I'm going to have to say this, but for UIU to beat Red Reserve but lose against Imperial, because you would rank Imperial lower than Red Reserve if you were sane, and that's no offense, really. That's just how it is. And the worst thing is, I knew you were gunning for revenge after Vegas as well.
Oh, right, okay, they go back.
Really, I'm waiting for you to tell us about this team. Play the device in memory.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this team with nicely, in a reasonable fashion. Tell us about this team.
To be honest with you, I thought they were pretty shit at Vegas.
Yeah,
No, I'm just being honest.
because you should have beat them quite comfortably.
You should have beat them, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty shit at Vegas. At the Pro League, I was like, nah, we're definitely going to beat them after what happened at Vegas. I mean, I literally dragged my team 4th map, which people will never see the day of light of it, because it was actually, I'm so sad that wasn't on the stream, because that shit would have made my stock go up. But yeah, we ended up beating them at the Pro League. I was like, yeah, there you go, we ain't choking now. And then, hello?
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh yeah, sorry, everyone was very quiet. And we was like, yeah, we're not choking now.
We
And
were
then,
listening. We're just, I was just.
but you beat them and then go lose to Movie Star Riders, and you just think, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the rest of us did.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, watching at home, we did wonder what the hell you were.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is an interesting team because the problem is I still just not fully convinced with them, because they seem to do like you can beat Red Reserve and then you lose against Imperial, and I'm just kind of wondering like how the hell do I benchmark that? How do I judge how good of a team you are when your results are all over the place?
Yeah.
But
Brice, I'm gonna kill you.
I don't know. Do you want to weigh in? You're gonna kill my cam.
I'm gonna kill your cam. Yeah. I don't know why my PC is seriously shit in the bed tonight. So we're gonna kill your cam.
Have you checked your task manager? Have you checked your task manager?
CPU's running fine. Not really sure what's going on. Tell you what, we can't close the call without doing that.
You can just turn my camera off.
Yeah, you just turn your camera off. Right, there we go. See if that makes a bit more of a difference, because don't know why, but Discord is just having my life today. I'll get a picture for you, don't worry.
Okay, no problem. They're literally just good against us. Well, this is what I'm saying, man. But like, it's
why?
weird that they're a counter to Rated and go. Why are they a counter to Rated? Why? Tell me why, Rated. You're in the chat. Tell me.
5-1. Or 6-1, or they go 5-2?
They lost. I feel you bring the results up because my PC is just.
They went 4-2. They lost against EG and Red. And lost against EG and you guys.
Who was the other team in our group? Red, EG. No one else.
Mindfreak Movie Stars Royals Nation of Power.
They beat Red. They beat Mindfreak. They beat
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think they're a decent team. I mean, I thought they were shit out at Vegas because the way we lost to them. Might be in 5-1 up last map, but we beat them there, and it's a weird one. They're a decent team.
I think it's good. I'm looking forward to see these guys play like throughout the year. Can you imagine how much better they're going to get?
I don't know, man.
You sure?
I think they'll get good. I just don't know what their skill ceiling is like, because Booth has been around for a long fucking time, man. It's like the first time he's qualified for the Pro League.
True.
Yeah. Maybe.
A long fucking time.
Here's the other thing. UIU, again, could be a team that once that transfer window opens up, there are some talent. If they find a weakness, they have the opportunity to plug that with a very good player that they may not have got the opportunity to if the PLQ didn't go the way it did.
Yeah.
Like, they have an opportunity to get some other players in there that can, balance out a roster if they find a
They'll
weakness.
probably get someone like Parasite.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise
Because
me.
I don't ask me why. I know that Giorgio Knight and him are like fucking best mates. I can see him like sliding his way in, like Parasite sitting there rubbing his hands together, like he's my best friend. I can see them trying to probably get him Parasite. And I don't even know who their main AR is.
Coach could be their Parasite could be their coach or their sub. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, most likely.
I feel there's better players than Parasite that can slide under.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Come on, man.
But that's the other thing is like where those better
Friendships,
players.
bro. Mark, you know this
around.
you know this from first hand as well. Friendships, man.
What do you mean I know this from first hand?
Yeah.
Not only that, but I will point out that you probably get Parasite cheaper than you do some of the other players.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking like from Team Sweden or someone from Lightning Pandas into their NA team.
If these players aren't looking at good subs now, like genuinely good subs, they're going, you know what?
Dylan Cod is a tier 1 SMG.
Like, you should bring that sub in, and then if
Can
you
you put
have
some
issues,
respect on my fucking name, please?
Okay, I'm talking SMGs here.
yeah, I'm talking.
What, God's a pro now, yeah.
Nah, I just think Dylan Cod's a tier 1 SMG.
I think he was unbelievable at the weekend.
I'm talking top 5 SMG.
Let's move on from this before we get into it. It feels weird not being on camera now.
Yeah, sorry, I've killed all our cams. My PC is just fried right now. I don't know what to do. I've dropped 10% of frames of this stream right now. Just let you know.
Jesus. All right.
Nice.
Team Reciprocity. Waskin, Tommy, Zed, Shawnee, Dens. A team that panicked me a little bit at Vegas. I was a little bit worried. But it's okay. Like, they made it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a absolute. They didn't smash their way in by any means of the imagination.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised to see them, go through as comfortable as they did. I was a little bit worried with some of the results that were coming in from European teams, but Reciprocity did in fact make it, and we are going to get to see Reciprocity versus Red at some point in the Pro League twice.
Hey, we're happy about that, aren't we? We want to see them two go up against each other. Absolutely. Yeah, by the way, I know you're going to talk about Red at some point, I'm sure, but wow, Matty Marshall this week. Holy shit.
Well, we'll get to why you hate Red later on.
No, I don't hate Red. It's not okay. I'm ready for it.
Let's talk about Marky. You haven't said a ton here, but you are very familiar with these players. Weigh in on Team Rec.
Weigh in on Team Rec.
Yeah.
I think that I think they're reaping the rewards of moving to America, to be honest. I think that beforehand you'd say teams like Sweden and Lightning Pandas obviously were better after Vegas. And I think that just the practice that they were able to get, the insane focus that they've been able to put into improving, I think I could see a noticeable difference from them from Vegas to now. I think they're steadily improving. They've got the talent, like the Unilad team from the last year were obviously getting major props for their talent. They've got the core of that roster, added a few extra players in there. I think that got the leadership of Tommy.
Yeah,
I think they've got a lot of good things going for them. I can see them definitely getting some better results. I don't even think the PLQ was their ceiling anyway. I think that they lost a couple of games they shouldn't have.
yeah.
That I think if they cut those little stupid losses, little stupid maps they threw here and there out of their gameplay, I think that they can be a top team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Sorry, Ray made me laugh in the chat. He just said, "We don't lose to EU teams. Will be a boring game." Like, that just makes me laugh because funny because the reply after that was, "Don't worry, they got Dens. They're international." So that will be a great game. I think it's great. I also love the content coming out of Reciprocity, so I'm glad they made it in and that continued. I really didn't want to see a video of them not making the Pro League.
Oh God,
it would have been a terrible part of the series. Awful. Them all moving back home. The King of Vegas are being dropped. That's the next rec video coming out if they hadn't made it.
We've had to drop the COD team.
Yeah. Just, a lot of sad faces. Let's move on to Team Spacely then. Worried they weren't going to make it at one point. Very worried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was looking slow. Especially after the 1-5 comeback.
They scraped their way in, and they are in now. I feel like they dropped a bit from Vegas. I felt like they were stronger at Vegas as well.
Yeah. I think that I can speak with experience because they're like one of our scrum partners. At the very start of this game, they were like genuinely one of the top 3 teams. At the very start of the game, they grinded more than any of the other teams. They put in some insane amount of effort. And I think that even back then, I think the majority of people would have predicted them to fall off because they've just not got the skill ceiling as of the other teams. So I think as much as obviously they continue to put that hard work in, and they do have talented players, don't get it twisted, like Havoc, Major Maniac. I mean, all of them in general, Mox, Facely, Nagafen, all of them talented players, but I think that other teams around their level just have maybe higher skill ceilings. And I feel like as time goes on, when people start to understand the game a bit more, I think that they fall off a little bit.
There's another reason as well, man. You need to realize something as well about the LCQ.
Yeah,
this is another reason why I
I
didn't like it the way where it was so close, right? Teams like LP, Space, Team Sween, they had more screen time than any of these motherfuckers. Yeah? Way more screen time at fucking MLG Vegas. They were on stream. People were not going to give up these certain maps to certain teams. That could have hurt them. Like LP, and no, not LP, Team Sween. Not one fucking team played them on Frequency Hardpoint this weekend. But at Vegas, everyone was giving it to them. You know what I mean? Like, there's just that factor.
Yeah, those are factors.
Yeah, that's a factor massively. I mean,
so that probably could have been a reason why Team Space didn't start off so hot because they weren't getting their better maps here and there. And then they had to readjust mid-event.
Yeah,
but
that's an issue for everybody who has to deal with it. If you have a better placement in Vegas, then it's going to happen. I mean, like overtime, like you couldn't research them at all, and everyone kept playing them on frequency, hardpoint, frequency control, and they were smoking everybody at that map. And then, but the thing is that Mindfreak selected that map in the last game against them as well.
No EU team would have been playing those guys on that map, I tell you that for free, because you're playing against Bricey HD, the ranked player in that on frequency, man. He just running about. They don't know what they're doing. No offense to White, but they have no idea what they're doing. They're sprinting about the map. And so I think that just knowledge of players can sometimes play. There's so many variables that go into a COD match. And that's the thing that people like on Reddit and stuff don't truly understand, that like why teams don't stream and stuff like that. There's certain teams they always use the example about Optic and United stream, but it doesn't matter. If anyone can get any sort of advantage on you, they notice the scrims that you're winning a specific map like all the time. Like these things can be factors and can cost you at the big events, which I feel like that's the advantage of teams like Overtime.
That's another thing for coaches.
We would have beat EG on Arsenal S&D 100% if our game against Mind Freak wasn't on stream. I know that's what you got to deal with, and you've got to be prepared to be getting countered in that. But it's just like
it's not like a real game of COD. It's not like who was better. Maybe it's who prepared better for the match.
Yeah. Like are they like we had EG's notes down, but then again like. Are they going to play to counter us, or are we going to play to counter them? Are we just going to play up there, play our straight game, and they're going to play their straight game? Like all other factors come into it. Like it's so fucking weird, man. And a lot of the fans don't understand that.
So this is the thing I was talking about with coaches being a bigger thing now. Like for several reasons. This is another reason for vetoes. Like you have to realize as a professional team now, because we are. It is changing from the days of just fuck it, just play everything, will be fine. To you have to realize that this could be a strategy here. If you have had a good event on those maps, you will need the next event to deepen your map pool, to rethink out your rips, your breaks off the rip. Sorry, rethink out your strategies in S&D. Not because they don't work, but because they might not work next time, and then you don't have time to work on them. You're going to have a much, and this comes down to everything from perfect practice to figuring out exactly how to have that right environment that you can critique and change shit. The team that gets that nailed in this next year, where they can freely listen to a coach, figure out what the hell they need to do for the next event and adapt, improvise, and overcome. That's a bit of a motivational thing. Like you have to figure it out. This is not, we're not turning up to some bloody sports hall in the middle of Loughborough to piss around for 3 days anymore. Right? This is a very professional league now. And you have to take it that way. And any player who doesn't have that correct attitude will find themselves on the losing end of things. If you are a toxic player and you cannot get in that right environment to figure out how you're going to play well, then you're just not going to make it anymore. I'm sorry, get the hell out of Call of Duty and go play something else where they're still playing in shop corners.
Sorry, I'm just wanting to interrupt here and something that one of your streamers saying. Bunk, gang, walk. Players can't watch theatre unless they've played against unless they're playing against that team. And if you're got the team in your group, for example, you're obviously not scrimming against that team. And our team does not scrim any sort of practice, and we came third. Obviously,
Mark, why are you actually responding to that guy when he said Optic even Spice are the best anyways? He's a narrow-minded fuck.
Oh my god!
Bro, scroll up through the chat. Scroll through the chat. Talking trash. The guy's a mong.
I just wanted to address it.
yeah, you did it much better than Reedy did. Let's move on. Let's go about the next team here. Red Reserve. They gave us all heart attacks, getting all the way through the end of the bracket and having to beat Team Sweden to come through.
My Arsenal dropped out during that game against you two.
So Tom, why do you hate them? Because you were saying they need to get rid of some of their players.
I said I don't hate.
There was rumors outside the event, that you were spitting on pictures of Bants and stuff.
Well, that is just not strictly true. What I said was right. Okay, I'll put my argument out there. I know Reddit's in here, and he'll probably call me a fucking buffoon. But
a buffoon.
But at the same time, like I just sort of seen it as Red Reserve in that team should not be getting to like the final qualification point, and they know that. Don't get me wrong. Like they know they should be finishing top 2 of their group with that roster. Absolutely should. Zero. Go on.
There was a lot of flack directed at certain players this weekend from the community, and I think if I'm going to be fair to you, Tunn, at any point, I think you just happened to tweet at the wrong moment when people like who did I see? Who was getting shit on for Red? People were having a massive they were having a go at Joe.
I thought Joe played really well, to be honest.
Yeah, but people just for some reason like to just flip on Joe at any opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
Bance was getting wrecked in every single mention that I saw because everyone expected him to put up stupid numbers like in Black Ops 3.
Yeah, that's why I said that to Bance. He was getting all upset and emotional about why is everyone roasting me? I was like, Ben, people just have high expectations of you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, I mean, what I'll say is that
people put him in like the best 5 players in the game.
Yeah, like I think like last year, you've seen how well that Red Reserve squad performed. Bance has been added into it, and like, I mean, to me, Reedy and Marky, you can like disagree. Do you feel like this game is super Slayer heavy?
It can be.
Yeah, I mean that yeah.
It does come across that way. It does come across the way as Slay heavy and just watching it on the face of it. But I think that you do have to have all the other variables in your team to allow the players to slay. I think that just stacking a team full of slayers doesn't necessarily work.
I think a better word for slay heavy. I think it's high tempo.
Yeah, and what I will say is that
high tempo. High tempo is a better way of looking at it.
And what I will say is, in all due respect, I think the thing is the reason why. Like the thing is with me and Bans kicked off, it was his response more than anything, which he did apologize to me for and stuff like that. But like, I think the thing is that they will know more than I do what is wrong with their team.
Yeah.
Rated's in there, seeing the mistakes are there. So that is up to them. I think it's just from an outside perspective, that's what I and plenty of other people seen during the weekend. And I think it's just sort of because me and Blans clashed on Twitter. That's the only reason it actually came out to be more than it was.
I would concede the point that mistakes or not, you would expect more. I had super high hopes for Red Reserve, and I think that's what the issue was.
Yeah, that was
is
similar,
that
I think.
I honestly expect, like, so against some of these teams, Ray could stand up and go for a wander through the crowd and still come out on top at the end of a series.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's just not happening, and it is apparently very tight at the top.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
this is World War II.
Yeah, and then people would argue that obviously you got Zero and Scraps, realistically, it's going off consistently, and it's hard for the others to put up massive numbers. But like I said, I think that Reece Zero control game was very, very good. But then at the same time, like a lot of people have said, a few little mistakes here and there are what cost you. But you look at how the pool played out, they could have very well finished top 2, and then that issue isn't there of them finishing it's not as low down as they did, but getting into the league as late as they did. So I mean, my criticism of Bance might have been overstated, but at the same time, I think you look at that roster and you sort of see how they did last year, and a lot of people would argue that a change was potentially needed. But as said, they will know more than me what is wrong with that team, and they will know what is needed to fix it. Yeah,
big shout out to Matty Marshall.
Oh,
what I mean?
By the way, that was one of the best performances I've seen from a player at an event, full stop. Tell me Amapi didn't go off. I think he started maybe a little slow, but the last 2 days
every penny,
crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
I want to move on because we've still got a ton of teams to go. We haven't even some of the losers yet. Let's do it. Like Team Envious. That was kind of a simple one for them in the end. People wondered how they were going to do, and turns out, team still works, team's still good.
Yeah, I don't think you really need to say too much about Envious, really. I think
they're still a top team.
Very good.
You put them in that top 6.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
It's ready. If you need to do that, go and come back, mate. It's fine.
Okay.
We can cover it. None of us on cam anyway. So, let's move on to Enigma 6. Then we've got General back. Frosty, Halo player, come over.
General and Frosty played insane.
Kismet
was good as well. Yeah, I mean they all stepped.
Kismet was probably. I'd actually argue that Kismet was their best player.
I thought I didn't see enough of them to argue that point, but I've seen General going off, which doesn't happen very often. And yeah, he was frying. So I think as soon as you see him playing well, then the rest of the team are always going to probably coast through. But the thing is for me about E6, sorry, I know I didn't let you finish the roster there, Brice, but they looked like shit at Vegas, like absolute dog shit. They got smoked off Heretics, and then like somehow just absolutely smoked the group. I don't know, just a big turnaround. Like that's the thing. Like it's the same sort of like they just finished top 32. Lightning Pandas and Team Sween finished top 6 and didn't get through. I mean, it's just like people
and you also got to factor in there's actually other reasons I believe that Enigma 6 had such a drastic improvement. For example, Frosty played a Halo event like 2 weeks before Vegas. Frosty played the last Halo event like 2 weeks before Vegas.
He's nuts. He will be one of the next.
The last Halo 5 event, and there's no way that they came in fully as prepared as they could have been. And now over this last month, you've seen it if you've kept an eye on the social media. They've been together. They've been in General's mansion or something, General's lair, or something like that. Like they've been grinding
on the side of a volcano.
Yeah, they've been living in General's castle for the last month,
inside of the skull,
and just grinding and going hard and obviously improving drastically. They got a coach involved. They got Sender in, so they've just been putting everything together in order to improve this team drastically, and it showed. And I like that. I like when you see teams just doing everything they can, and then there's obvious improvement as well. And I think that's just what they've done, just pure and simply.
Yeah.
I like it. General. I want to see someone, at some point. I don't know if it'll happen, but like a Photoshop of General's lair, like an E6 carved in the side of a mountain.
Just them coming out of the underside of a waterfall as they go to Fort Worth.
Yeah. All you can see through it is the blinking of router lights.
Yeah.
All right, let's. I think Enigma 6 is a team that you've got to keep an eye on, just because
Yeah.
I wasn't too confident on them coming into it. I just wasn't. I didn't really give them any credit.
We expected them to be better in
made it.
Vegas, though, didn't they? That was the thing. So I think they play a lot better in Vegas. Than they look much better. Then we feel a lot better about them in this tournament, but they really shit the bed at Vegas, which is what realistically put them lower in our expectations.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Let's move on to 100 Thieves here, because I don't know what to even say about this team. We covered them briefly at the beginning.
Yeah. I think
Tunn, I want to call you out for your, they could smoke their entire group.
Well, no, I still sort of like stand by to the point of where
could that make, honestly.
Right. Well,
honestly,
I'll come back at you when we talk about Mind Freak later. But I think that team, they definitely 100% need a change. I mean, I was talking about Red potentially making a change. 100 Thieves need a change. Holy shit! I mean, the fact that they're struggling as bad as they did is just bizarre. I mean, it was at the point where we were sitting with Mud Dog in the talent room, and they were scrimming after their first day against some people, and he is having like, he said, I have to like literally sit next to Kenny and tap him on the shoulder when he should rotate. Why does he have to do that? Why? He should know when to fucking rotate.
100 Thieves got an actual coach, because no, Mud Dog's not their actual coach.
Well, he's the coach he's the manager / coach. He has helped them.
Is he taking the coach role? Like, because they probably need. Yeah, exactly. They probably need a full coach role.
Yeah,
He was hired by 100 Thieves to he wasn't hired to be their coach. Now obviously with them having the issues they've had, he's been a coach previously, like years ago, when he was coach of
Eric knows
on like Black Ops 2 and stuff. Yeah, he's a smart Call of Duty player. He always has been. So I think that he definitely has the ability to be a coach, but does he have the ability to dedicate full time that maybe other people will? I don't know. I think that they could definitely benefit from getting a full time coach in the future. I think that so that Mud Dog is able to sit and focus on his actual job. But I mean, for the time being, he's certainly a good enough person to be able to help them improve. And I think that, like you said before, I think that a change is due for that team. I think that with the players they have, and they've tried time and time again, they've changed roles, changed specialists, had conversations. There's no been any spark like, oh yeah, they played really well. They changed that up and they started playing really well that week. Maybe there's an upswing for them. There's not really been much of that for them. So I think that a change is due for them.
Yeah, 100%. Enable played really well, which I should have pointed out.
Don't tell Matthew Hogg to ring up Drake and get that bloody checkbook out.
Yeah, man.
Start hitting some serious fucking DMs. Get that checkbook out. There is some good honestly, talent to round this out.
The whole of the chat, I've not even spoke about Slasher, who I thought was probably like their best player, to be honest with you. I mean, I just think he has been one of the best ARs for the past couple of years, and the damage he was putting down is crazy. I think I'd argue that I don't think Kenny is garbage. Kenny is never going to be garbage at the game. You don't just change like that. Like,
they just don't have the right balance.
They don't have the right balance. Like, you put Kenny in the right positions and have the right team around him, he will fry. But at the same time, I think if anyone's getting dropped, it's Pharaoh. There's too much of a clash. There's too much of a clash between him and Slasher. You know what Slasher's like, and Pharaoh, it just seems like I don't really know him that well, but he to me seems like a player that would not get along with Slasher. And that's come across on.
And get your checkbook out, Nate Shot. Just get it out. Get that money and get in those DMs.
That's exactly what they've done before, though.
Yeah, they got the money out.
Do it again.
They just that's not what they need to be doing. They just need to get the right players for roles. Yeah, that's all they need to be doing. They just built the team fundamentally wrong off the rip. That is the issue with our
replacements. Now he is gonna have to get that credit card and start swiping.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they've dug themselves a hole. It's time for them to get a wallet to dig themselves out of it.
It's not like they didn't come on make a big splash picking up those players. They knew what they were doing, picking up this name. They were shooting for gold, and they've shot. They haven't even shot for bronze. They managed to hit bronze. They've hit the dustbins and the other side of the target at the moment. Like this team should be absolutely ripping, and they have an opportunity to pick up, like at least at their sub at the moment. Yeah. And if that sub doesn't come in and like just kick up I would pick up a big name as well. A lot of people have been saying Priester. Yeah. I would pick Priester up and I'd be like, yo, if you guys don't fucking pick it up.
They need a soul.
He is swinging into this team.
They need a soul.
I'm just going to Spartan kick one of you down a well. Like, you're out. And then when the next transfer comes in, You guys better this is if you're going to go into a team that's high profile, as 100 Thieves have had. You better glue your hands to that controller because there are people coming for your spot and they have the facilities and the infrastructure to replace you and not worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that if you're naming any two I think SOG players are the most important role at the minute. So I think that the top two on everyone's list should be that are not in the league are just Priesta and honestly Dylan God. Dylan God. I'm surprised. I'll genuinely be it sounds really weird to say this, but I don't see him getting a team.
No,
but I'll actually be mind blown if he doesn't as well at the same time because
I spoke to him the other day.
So many SOGs that in teams or teams that slack SOGs that he could be better than in that team.
I messaged him yesterday because I wanted to try and get him on to speak about the performance and see where he goes from here because I think a lot of people are super interested in Dylan now, not just in the league, fans wise and stuff like that. But he hasn't had any offers yet. Oh, he didn't tell me he had anyway. I did ask, and he said no, not yet. So unless he's lied, but I don't see why he would. But yeah, I don't see it happening though. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But
because it's too much of it's a risk for people. It's a risk. They don't know him. They can't say this guy's got he's playing really well in this game, but he's got championships, he's got the experience. He doesn't have that. He turned 18 back end of
towards
last year.
End of last year. Yeah.
So
let's move on from 100 Thieves because, like I said, still a ton to cover. Heretics,
a ton.
Vamos.
Heretics look really good. We said they were an outside shot to qualify. They turned up. They're absolutely fried. And you know what I like about them? They're bloody good to watch as well. They just run around like absolute lunatics, and it's hilarious that nobody can seem to keep up with them. It's just
they full memed it. Everybody loved them. You just saw take my Vamos. It was so good to see, especially bearing in mind they're not even a UK team. They're a mainland Europe team, and you saw fans rally behind this team because they recognize the passion. They don't know everything they're saying, but they recognize passion when they see it. And this team burns.
They really do.
You're sitting across from them, mate. You're sitting across from Heretics.
Yeah. My issue with Heretics now is if they want to ever make a change, they can't because they all speak Spanish and don't speak English. So that is their first worry. If things start going badly, who do they pick up?
They're gonna. I've got two Spanish-speaking players on my team. They're gonna have to open the checkbook up.
Get Julian.
Renato speaks Spanish.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that they started getting. They hire Looney. They get Looney in. Boom. Looney's their leader. That'd be crazy.
Heretics has got the cash, man. Don't worry about that.
I mean, I'm only joking. Don't do that.
I don't. But
the Saints is a good shout for them anyway.
Yeah, the experience there. But Metals, I mean, a lot of people ridiculed the whole long contract thing, but holy shit. That just the final S&D round where they qualified, where he rips that, I can't remember who it specifically was, and he rips him off the head of the statue. It was just what?
That was Johnny, wasn't
it? No, it was Metals. It was Metals. He rips him off, and then Lucky gets the jump snipe, and it was just wow, that's just happened. Just two
best round.
Oh, yeah, it was a crazy round, and then they qualify off the back of that. And it was great to see them all hugging his shit, and people are crying. It was nice to see.
Sorry, but they were setting themselves up for success soon as they fucking hired 6 different coaches. Man, the infrastructure in Spain is completely different to UK and other parts of Europe, even America. They have 3 different fucking coaches, man. They have a chef. The way they were just setting themselves up to fucking succeed, man, and their hard work and effort just went a long way.
And I really hope they do. Because I know that they've got flack off people online and stuff like that, and you sort of see how they're playing, and people argue against it, but the passion's there, man. Yeah, the Spanish, and it's what, it's so good for the community. It's good for COD to have a Spanish team in there because that Spanish community fucking love it. And I can't wait.
Just in from Complex Man in the chat. Did you guys see the reaction from the Heretics owner?
Yeah.
That's a reaction. That's a proper reaction.
Yeah, they love it. So it's always good to see some new passionate guys in there who are going to give it their all every single time. I'm looking forward to see what they do. I think in their group they've got a chance to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to come first at all, but I feel like they could finish top 5. We'll see we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting.
Let's move on to Accelerate. BZ, Fastballer, M. Ruiz, Believe, and Profizi.
It surprised me, to be honest. It really did.
Yeah, surprised me too.
Surprised me more than Midnight surprised me. Even though the way that Midnight won theirs, it was probably a little bit more surprising. But at the same time, in terms of getting there, like they struggled against Fact. They like just basically scraped their way through every single game, but they won them. Like that's the main thing. Beat Fact. Like they were 2-0 up against Fact and Cruise, and Fact came screaming back into it. But then that is 100% Team Sweden's chance to qualify. That was it.
Yeah,
If Team Sweden lost to someone,
they lost to FaZe, which if they didn't lose to FaZe, they would have an easier side of the bracket. Is what I would have said.
If they'd lost overtime,
if they lost to overtime, they would have had to play Mindfreak to qualify.
Yeah. But I mean,
you don't.
Exactly.
It's just crazy to think.
Just the way that bracket goes, isn't it? I was speaking about it to the boys in the airport because I was fine with Nicky Nolson and Bryn, and they were good, absolutely good.
They had an easier winners game because they had to play. They had to play Accelerate, which is obviously the best winners game you can get out of that 14 bracket.
Yeah.
So that was their best chance to qualify in that game, like you said before. And then they had to go through the gauntlet. That's just basically what happened. So they got gifted one opportunity, and then they basically got punished for not taking it.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's a shame considering how well they have done, like in Vegas, and that even through the groups they look pretty good at stages. And then it's just I do feel tough on them. Like I feel tough on Lightning Spanders and Lightning Pandas. Because
I mean, come on, man. We're like
spandex.
We've talked about the Lightning Spandex.
No, I know, but but I felt tough on them. But they went 0-6. But then Sweden get as far as that.
I'll tell you what. We'll get to Sweden in a minute. We'll talk about. We have to talk about Sweden anyway. So literally after this next team, the final team that made it through, a team that I am still shocked is in this position, and that's. I'm sure they'll be very upset that I've said this, but how the bloody hell did they get through in the end?
No idea.
Against Mindfreak, against everything. I had written this team. I'd actually put this team in the bin.
Yeah, I put them rock bottom of the pool.
Over Team Esports. I want to say Breezy or Brez. Is it Brezzy?
Breezy
HD.
Oh, it's a Brezzy.
Okay. HD. Yeah. Natshay, Whalers, Zeke, and Risk. Like.
I'd be fair play to them. Fair play.
I've always rated Whalers. I've always rated Whalers. I will give you that.
I'd argue Whalers might be the worst player on that team.
I just don't even know where to begin with this roster.
Freshly 18 at Risk King's a fucking G.
Yeah,
but, I mean, we're talking about a French scene that in the last 3 years has basically been completely shit.
I mean,
they haven't been good.
Last year.
Yeah, I know. They weren't any good.
I mean, they qualified, didn't it? The system.
They did qualify.
They done what was put in front of them. Congrats to them, man.
I know. But it is, and I said I don't want to disrespect, but it was such a surprise. The next biggest hurdle now is to continue this on.
Yeah.
Show people that it was not a fluke. Show people that you deserve every step of the way that they've got coming from you. Because now you are probably the smallest fish in a very big pond.
Yeah, and their control was really good. Their S&D was really good. Their hard point was a bit shit, but like their S&D and control, man, you be good enough at them, you win series. Like, I mean, when I was speaking to, I said we had the 100 Thieves boys in the green room quite a lot. I was imagining that we were going to see a lot more of them throughout the rest of the season at one point during the week, but the boys were saying that overtime were actually like, when it came up against it, when I seen Mindfreak in overtime, I was like, oh, well, Mindfreak got this. But then Enable was like, I don't know, man, like, overtime, but legitimately like pretty good, and he was 100% right. Like holy hell! Like I mean, and the people kept selecting frequency against him. I don't think they lost it all week. I don't think they lost it once.
There it goes.
Yeah. So then in the actual league, do you know what I mean? When people are aware. Yeah. So it does go that way. Like
I'm throwing it out there, man. I think Vito's are fucking trash.
What is wrong with you, dude? There's nothing wrong with Vito's. I'm not even going to get into this with.
I can't really argue this point, but I mean, let's just move on.
Yeah, I'm not even.
Right, just because you've been
sitting here all
for the
night.
past 6 years.
Vito's are the fairest way to do it, man. Like, don't even. No, they're not trash, mate. I'm not even beginning the veto argument with you of why they're 100% necessary in a competitive league. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? Oh no, you know what?
Right,
we're not even getting.
no, stop it.
I know, Charles, you're about to go to
We're talking
penalty kicks
about
against Tottenham. Let me just get fucking Kante to veto fucking Harry Kane's kick. 1 sec.
Yeah.
But that's just not how it
Not how
works.
vetoes work. Well, that's fundamentally
One
wrong,
sec.
mate.
One
They play on the
Fundamentally
same
wrong,
pitch every
mate.
game. They play on the same pitch every game.
Fundamentally
Right.
wrong.
Right.
And every other esport, they have vetoes of some kind. In League of Legends, they have bans and picks for champions because they play the same map every time.
CS:GO, like
CS:GO, they have vetoes or picks.
all major esports have. And there's a very good reason because of the way it works. We're moving on to Team Sween. Let's talk about Team Sween. Lost to Red, went out at the very last session. They had 5 opportunities to win games to get them into the Pro League, and they failed at every single one.
Wounded for them. Really am.
Yep.
Like, I thought they were a guarantee. I thought they would just smoke everybody with the pace. And the things just didn't click. I think the one person that will come out of it good, I think the whole team, like, you know, if they stick, do the amateur circuit, that sort of thing, like, they will do well through that. Don't get me wrong. If they can keep a hold of Dylan, definitely will. But wow, Dylan Codd. He's going to be a fucking good player. He already is. But I honestly expect him to be near the top in the next few years. Like, I think he's that good. I don't know if I'm gassing him unnecessarily here, but
No, I think he's the next big European player for sure.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think that's a fair thing to say already, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he already is the next European.
He's the
big
guy that's got
player,
the most potential. He's got the guy that's got the most potential of the players coming through in Europe for a long shot.
Yeah.
Like all the other players pretty much are all established, and he's there. He's that guy.
Yeah, he just walks in and, like, I mean, there's one thing that was realistically, like, I thought at the beginning of the season, I spoke to a couple of players about this, was like why he didn't get picked up onto Rec or well, Red, he was never going to get picked up on the Red because they were always going to pick Banter, but why, like, you know, Rec didn't give him a stab. Apparently it's like to do with what happened at Champs. Apparently he can be a bit of a hothead and will like chat shit. So I don't know if that's like what sort of let him down in the beginning of the season, but to be honest with you, you've seen how he played. Like you make it work. Like holy shit.
There have been some legends in of Call of Duty that have been hotheads.
Yeah, exactly.
In the
Yeah,
European
and-
scene, like Mad Cat was an arsehole for a good 4 years.
Yeah,
So was
100%.
Swanee. Swanee was a terrible person.
And when we play
Like,
Blackout with
people love
Mad Cat,
Swanee
he's
now.
still an asshole.
And,
So
and
Swanee
also,
players.
Yeah.
you got to take into account who was team with the champs. No disrespect to those guys.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I feel like it's disrespecting someone like Tommy is a bit different to disrespecting D-Real.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And I love D-Real, nice guy, not top guy. But like, there's obviously these players have been at top for years and years. D-Real's really never done anything. Like he's always gonna have more respect for if he's in that team. Like that's just obvious. And I think in general, like just if you can play things like if you've ever played stuff like eights with him, like last year I played it a few times. You can tell he's like one of those guys that would be open to doing whatever it takes to win. I believe.
Yeah. I just want to point out, but it's quick.
Dylan Codd.
Oh yeah, mate, good player.
Brilliant. Cheers for that, mate. I just want to quickly point out something you said about Tommy there, actually. Tommy's interesting because I didn't cover him when we talked about reciprocity. Tommy's super interesting because I can't think of another player that's been kicked down as much as he has and just keeps rising to the top. Like every time you think, he's moved to another French team or he's moved to this team and he's, it's no longer a T1 team. He's like, no, I'm just going to smash it and then I'll get back into a T1 team. And he's just done it over and over and over again.
Do you know what it is? Like, I feel like he does the same thing every time he gets kicked down. Instead of going, right, so he gets dropped from like a tier 1 team, right? Instead of going, right, I'm just going to join a team that's maybe slightly less good, he goes, fuck it, I'm going to make a new team with all these, not shitters, but I'm just going to use the word shitters for right now, right? We're going to use the word, he just gets with these random players that you're never going to expect to team with, and he somehow makes them good, and he also, within that team, plays well, and then boom, his stock's up to an all-time high again, and boom, he's back in there.
Yeah.
And it just happens every single time. He's never been dropped from a top team and then gone to join the next best team. He always randomly makes a team with like French players he's done multiple times, or he's just made a team with like random players you wouldn't expect. For example, his Vitality team.
Fuck, he was trying to get me and you to pick up fucking McGee again when McGee was done dusted.
Yeah, I know. Me and Tom had and really had that experience where we could have picked up Brice. There was like loads of players we could have picked up in AW, and Tommy was like trying to pick up McGee, who hadn't been good in years. We're like, what?
The thing is, though, Tom would have picked him up. and probably made him good. Like you look
I
at
don't
that
know.
fact. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's a stretch. But you look at that Fact Revolution team, and that's sort of the remnants of the Vitality team at Champs. So you know what, the Fact did all right. Fact really did do okay.
Yeah.
They did better than I thought they would. Like all props to them.
Chain
Chain,
Maple.
Maple, yeah.
I always
Maple's
rate.
a
I always
fucking
rate.
talent, by the way.
Maple
Yeah,
was
he's a
good.
good talent.
I always rate Sonny B. Always do.
And Sonny played really well as well.
So he's passionate, man.
Williams
Ca-
taking Chelsea's first goal, penalty kick.
I tell you what,
all right,
Cammy
let's-
played a lot better than I thought he would as well when we were talking about that team. But yeah, they played all right, Fact. Fair play to them.
Yeah. Right, other teams we talk about. G2. G2's gone a bit. That's apparently people are leaving left, right, centre.
Yeah, just difficult for them when they go up against Red. By the way, Reece Price saved his career when he was 0-7. He was 0-7, pulls the Annihilator out, kills the Tempest, kills the War Machine, they win again. Crazy. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, G2, you know what? Lacefield played really well most of the weekend. He was really, really good. I thought Chino was poor by his standards. But Lacefield was an absolute beast. And he may well get picked up by somebody who was that good, I think.
Midnight is apparently fielding in a Ham League roster, I've been told.
Do you not mean Accelerate?
No, apparently Midnight.
Check the Twitter.
Uh,
Let's have a look.
Go ahead.
Somebody link it in the
No,
chat
just
and I'll
tweet it,
allow it.
apparently. Let's move on. We've got more teams to cover. First of
Yeah.
all, Big Phase. Big Phase.
Yeah.
What is up with the Phase Clan, man? What is up with them?
Well, they suck. That's what's up. I just think, Cell came in and he'll have his time because he's clearly talented, but I just think realistically it's maybe a time for the change of guard. The question is, there's so many different changes that could happen, like so many different things that could happen. Like what's happening with the contracts now? Like, do you still keep playing Zuma this reported crazy amount per month? Like, what do you do with that?
Well, I mean, I heard on the, I don't know this for sure, but on the podcast last night, there was people mentioning loans. So, like, these players would still be under contract from for example, FaZe and would be getting loaned to other teams and stuff like that. That's a rumor going around. So, I mean, there's, I think, a lot of things that can happen. Who knows, FaZe could even pick up another team, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Can you
I
concentrate
think,
here, Reedy?
yeah, I
am.
I'm interested to see what happens. That's what I'll say on the matter.
I mean, yeah, I would like. People would have got signed in their contract if they didn't make the Pro League. What happens then? 100%. I mean, if you didn't, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think that
from
most people.
org point of view and player point of view, like both parties should have been covered.
100%. I'm just trying to find Midnight's Twitter so I can put this in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that they're doing anyway. I don't think it's too big news. You know,
I don't think it's anything to do with because you can field a roster on. What the hell was
What
that?
is that?
wasn't me.
Really?
It was that.
Really.
There we go.
What was that? Anyway,
That's right. Taylor tried to scare me when she came in the room.
all right. But I think that Midnight are just doing that just as part of their plans.
All right, we're not going to cover every team, but yeah, FaZe is an interesting thing because that is some seriously high-profile players, and from what I also understand, insanely well played.
Oh,
Paid.
yeah.
Paid.
The opposite
Yeah,
of
I
well
can-
played, but very well paid.
Yeah, I can see them going plays.
I think Brice definitely fits in, but I don't know about the rest of them, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, they might fill a few sub spots, but
Well,
are they
the
gonna be-
issue is their stock is so low. How
Yeah.
low is that stock of that team right now?
That's the issue. Like, I know we're not going to talk about LP anymore, but that's the issue. Like, we know those players are good, but who's going to pick them up after they went 0-6 in their pool? That's the issue. Like,
Well, I think it'll be a immediate thing. Like, I don't think everyone right now is like, oh yeah, let's pick up some Light and Panas players. But I think come down the line, like players like in Midnight, for example, we'll use Midnight as an example again. You could see maybe Jet Li. He's not performing well. Why don't we just drop him and pick up a very well established player that's played at the top for a number of years? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's going to be that question posed to a lot of different teams and players down the line.
There's
I
a
think
lot
that's-
more resource for teams to use now to say, like, right, okay, there is a lot more people out there now that can be picked up that are viable options. They might not performed in that team, but we know they've got plenty of experience. that's where the viable options could potentially come from. So you're right.
Hear me out, boys. Chelsea might be going to Wembley.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
here we go.
I'm watching the penalties.
Great.
Hear me out.
Let's talk about other teams who didn't do so well. Pittsburgh Knights. Disappointing from them, I think.
Yeah,
Just,
I was expecting them to qualify. I think that they're one of the teams they're one of these AM teams that actually gets the opportunity to scrim against pro teams. So I feel like that's an advantage, getting scrim against the best teams, and is most definitely. I think that's Team Space are one of those teams that take full advantage of that. And I think that them not qualifying was a bit of a disappointment. I think some of those players were
Have it as cool as you fucking like, boys.
very high, very high regarded, and I think that now, who knows the future of the majority of them.
I think they're well, how to put this, not in a good position, especially because like apart from I don't even know who people would pick up on there. Like it's basically all or nothing from them because a lot of those players just don't have the clout to get picked up in the off season.
Yep.
Brice American lads use the word clout.
I thought that was a good way to put it.
It's a good way to put it. It's a good way.
Nah, it's not.
So all right, I don't have the stock.
Is this episode of Spitfire going down in the record books?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it should. I think it should go down
because
there's so much to talk about, pal.
There's too much to talk about. Well, you got better stuff to read.
No.
Yeah, mate. You ain't got no scrimming to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That was not necessary at all.
Right, come on.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Knights is better. Let's
Yeah.
move on to Mind Freak, who Tunn, you famously said
Mind Freak.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lobos,
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Right. That I did feel bad about that one. To be fair.
Oh yeah, Tunn, what is wrong with you?
I was supposed to get at you more than anything. I wasn't supposed to be having it. I wasn't specifically.
It wasn't even a good burn on me because they still went 4-0 in their polls.
Yes, I know.
They went 4-0 in their polls, and you tweeted me basically laughing at them going out.
No, I was laughing at your prediction. More than anything.
My prediction was the fact that they weren't going to be in the bin, and that team wasn't in the bin, and they were close to qualifying. They just fluffed it.
I really should have just WhatsApped you. In hindsight, but no,
'cause
I
it
do
wasn't
feel
even a good
bad.
burn.
I do feel bad. Anyway, irrelevant to my bad Twitter decisions over the week. Yeah, they still like. I feel bad for them because to go 4-0, be cruising, things are looking great, to then not qualifying and losing to overtime, to then get knocked out. That's just crazy. I mean, how can you go from that to that? Like, yeah.
I think those players would shit in their hands and clap to play overtime to qualify before the event. I think that them qualifying, losing that game was just embarrassing.
Yeah. Basically, Mind Freak killed the entire Australian team in entire Australian scene in one game.
Well, yeah, I mean not that. That was dead anyway. Even if they didn't qualify, even if they did qualify, they would have had to move to America. Like none of the Tatum Mines and all that. That's a scene that absolutely destroys. By the way, you cannot have the way it is cutting off with no relegation with the Australian scene because they're struggling with motivation in the best of times. There's absolutely zero reason for any Australian teams to commit to playing. And if Mind Freak do still want to attend these AM circuit events, then who are they scrimming against? Who are they scrimming against? Absolutely zero players are going to be playing. It's absolutely tragic for that scene in general, but that's just the way it is. Realistically, as you said, if it's going the way you think it's going to go, then that's just the way it is.
Mazer Gaming's the only another one I can see on here that is probably worth talking about. FC Black maybe. But, I mean the rest of them all come under that kind of that big umbrella of we didn't expect you to do an awful lot. And you didn't.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
You're a fucking pagan.
What? Oh right, yeah, Imperial.
We've already talked about Imperial.
Did we? Was I not here?
Well, I think I've shit talked you enough. Is that?
No, we didn't talk about Imperial.
Yeah, you guys.
No, I think we should talk about Imperial.
You was literally you was probably on our dicks after we beat fucking UIU and Megalon.
I DM'd you saying good job.
Oh, wait, you did. You did. You was on the dick. You was on the dick.
Yeah, I was on the dick. I was being nice, and I sent you a nice message of support privately, and then you went and shit the bed. So let's get it straight here, right? Yes. I sent you a nice thing. I didn't even tweet it out. I just said, "Good job, keep going."
I mean, and then
you lost to Movie Star Riders. Yeah, well, so don't even give me shit. Like, don't even pretend to turn that on me. Like I'm out here chasing you. Like you had it in the palm of your hand.
I'm joking.
Imperial were that. All right, let's talk about Imperial because that.
In fact, I want to talk about Imperial because I watched every single game they played. Right,
UYU, you beat great. I was like, that is a great start for them.
Fantastic start. I thought that was it. We're in, boys. We're looking good.
I thought that you were in. I thought you were at least in the bracket. Like,
Omega.
And then Jesus Christ, movie star riders, really. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not disparaging movie star riders here. But after beating UYU, you should have 100% have beat them.
Yeah, I just always have excuses, don't I?
Well, no, I mean, speak to us about it. Like, what went wrong? Like,
I mean, I just feel like that first day, we came, like, Steve was up all night. He had fucking paramedics in the room, kept Dens up. We came in against UYU, and then everything kind of just went flat against movie stars. Like, Steven said it himself, he wasn't commenting as much. He just felt completely dead. It was just unfortunate, really. Just got to knock it on the head, move on from it. But then we go into our double-header day against Mind Freak and Red. I generally think we should have taken something away from the Red game at least.
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it? Was it 3-1, 3-2?
But 3-1, but we should have won the control. Even though apparently Joe's mic was fucked up or something like that. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I guess the move star loss just hurt a couple people in the team. I don't think it mentally affected me. But I don't know. I can't speak for everyone else. I don't know.
I will back you up. Whenever I've seen you playing, you were fine. I will give you that.
Cheers. Cheers,
I thought Imperial had a chance to make it. I expect
we should have at least made bracket. I mean, we had a chance to auto qualify. Like, I generally think we played every single team close.
And that's what hurts us.
That's what annoys me. We didn't get bracket. Like, when we came in on that last game, we knew we had to beat EG to get bracket, and then I'm seeing Lightning Pandas only have to beat Tainted Minds 3-1, and they've got 0 wins, and we already have 2. Like, it's like, wow. Well, that was annoying.
Here's the thing that's annoying for me about that result is, well, the auto qualifiers from that was like EG, UYU, right?
Yeah.
Like, you beat UYU. Mm-hmm. Like, I would still expect you to lose to Red. Mm-hmm. But, like, Mind Freak, you could have won that game.
We could have won that game.
Movie Star Riders and Nation of Power should have been an absolute lock. I'm sorry, but they should have been. And
they should have.
And that's just, it's just incredibly disappointing. It's another disappointing team for me. But at the same time, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The friend you may be, but I didn't rate your chances as highly as the rest of the teams in the group. I don't think I put you 4th. I think I put you in the top 5.
No,
but I didn't.
You would have had us in the top 5 over Move Star and
Yeah. I remember I had you 100% in the top 5.
Possibly top 4. I think it was depending.
I think I may have put you above Mind Freak.
Yeah, because we weren't sure how good Mind Freak was going to be.
But I never thought it'd be easy for you. I thought the game against Mind Freak would be a massive game. And it turns out it probably was a massive game. It just didn't go your way.
Sucks to suck in it. It's one of them ones.
Yeah, it does. All right, let's quickly move on to the other teams. And who haven't we talked about? Mesa Gaming, FC Black, Team Divine, Tainted Minds. I don't cover Tainted Minds. I didn't think they look good in Vegas. I didn't think they look good here.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Fact Revolution, Giants, Out Cold Gaming, Nation of Power.
Not really worth talking about the sort of finish where we expected them to at that point. Fact did all right for themselves. You know, they sort of like they overperformed, I think, a little bit, but still like didn't make it. But you know, it's a struggle. It's difficult for them. They sort of like, you look at that team, you wouldn't have ever expected them to get qualifying, but you know, they looked okay. Fair play to them. You know, I think they should stick together, work as a team, see what happens come champs. Because I think, you know, they're not. They were never going to be.
Talking about Factor.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, fucking Mabel's already retired, mate.
Has he? Oh, all right, never mind. That's a shame because he's a good player.
Who is, sorry?
Yeah, it is a shame.
Mabel.
All right, fair enough. Well, quick question to the chat because we're going to bring this to an end here because it has been one of the long.
Yeah, we're 10 minutes away from 2 hours.
Good man. I could go for another hour.
Yeah, mate, you're streaming and playing Blackout. Don't even talk to me.
I could go another hour. I've got my feet up on the desk, mate. I'm chilling.
Big chilling.
What? Yeah, open up. Get my stream open up as well. Just look at him, man. I'm not just slouched in this chair, about to fall asleep.
It's alright. I'll host it.
We keep going though.
Yeah, but like, there's also things we're going to cover next Spitfire because there's still stuff to talk about, but it's probably a little bit out of the scope of this.
Yeah. Well, why about next week we talk about the actual divisions and how they sort of marry up against each other and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, I'd rather say that for when the Pro League starts because there might be who brings the subs on. I'd rather find out when the subs have been brought on.
That's very true.
So I'll probably save that for then. I'm sorry, I've got some topics for next week anyway.
Cool. Everyone get your questions in the chat very quickly because I'm very concerned that we've been going for about 2 hours.
Someone asked about, whether or not Marky could confirm Splice's sub, and I don't think that's true. Is that what you put in the chat true, by the way?
No, and realistically, the way our team sees the sub position is we don't see it as any point of value. We're not going to make a change. So our sub player Brice, you could be our sub. No one's going to play for unless something. Our sub is basically someone that's if an emergency happens that we have someone to go under. Whereas a lot of other teams are seeing their sub position as something of importance. Whereas for us, it's just for emergencies.
I suppose that happened because of what happened to Jared last year, didn't it? So that's what it's there for, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of blown up this sub position. It's a lot.
The thing is, it's a good out for some people who want to make a change now.
Yeah, but a lot of people talking it. Yeah. A lot of teams I wonder who's going to be the sub of Optic Gaming. It's going to matter. That player's ever going to feature.
They'll probably just put Teep as their sub.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not going to factor unless you're a team that's looking to make a change. Then it's obviously a massive factor. But there's a lot of people asking. I keep getting asked in my chat who's our sub. I've seen it in Scump's chat. I've seen it in United. I don't reckon it's going to be a factor for a lot of these teams that aren't going to make changes.
All right, let's quickly talk about the next question, just because I want to get these quick questions. Right, I don't want to delay on them too long. Quick naming some players we think will get picked up as subs. I think Priest is 100% number one.
Priest should be the number one, 100%.
Dylan Codd, I'd like to see get picked up. I think, I'll be honest with you, this may be controversial. Anybody on FaZe. Just because I can't see those players not playing somewhere.
I know, but they haven't performed, so I don't know what the justification could be.
I'd like to see Madcat go somewhere. I'd like to see Dave go somewhere. I think Alex is a big shout.
Yeah, I just think that it's going to be difficult for Europeans to get picked up.
100%.
Very much so.
I think Saints. I think GodRx.
Yeah, Saints, GodRx. Who else? Oh, God.
Luca. I don't know if any of the Australian guys will be.
If anybody did, it'd be Luca, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Who else? Trying to think who else missed out. G2. The G2. Oh, yeah, Decimate is 100. In fact, we've not even spoke about Decimate, by the way. I've literally just forgot about him. He's one of the better players in this game. I'm actually mind blown he's not in the league. We've not even spoken about him. I can't believe I forgot he was even a person until I've just thought of his name right now. I'm looking at the list of teams right now. How have we not even spoken about Decimate? He is 100% going to be in the league. He's going to be in the league anyway. I can almost guarantee that.
No, what kind of dick is he sucking?
I am gassing.
I don't even get this gas. I am fucking birthday presents. Holy fuck.
Gas JT to the new levels. He's a beast, right? He is going to be in our league.
JT and all sorts. What the hell?
Yeah, we're on first time basis.
Holy shit!
Nice.
What the hell?
Moving on.
I guess.
Someone asked about GodRx. What do you think?
Yeah,
potentially.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Like I said, it's just a quick one. We'll know what happens when we get to the sub episode, which will probably be just before the league. Which division do you think is the hardest? They're both insane.
I'd say A.
Everyone says A, right? Wait, I need to talk about this, right?
Oh God, yeah.
No bias coming in here
because last night, even on the podcast, everyone initially said A, but when you actually sit and think about it, I think B is tougher.
Wait, hold on, Mark. Is Splice into Group B?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, man. You literally said you had your cock out?
No. I did say that.
I literally said, Mark, you've got your cock out with your group, and you went, yeah, Lamau.
Yeah, I know.
And then a money emoji came in.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, I literally couldn't
I think A is more competitive overall, whereas the top of B will be more competitive, I feel.
Right. Listen. Look at all the teams. Let's judge the teams on a line, right? You'd say this is the way that they done it in the podcast last night, right? You'd say Optic better than United, right? Yeah. But then you'd say us better than Luminosity. You'd say Envy better than Midnight. You'd say EG better than E6.
Yep.
Then 100 Thieves versus UIU. 100 Thieves are going to be the same team when the league starts? Probably not. So 100 Thieves are going to be drastically better. Heretics.
Worse.
You'd say Reciprocity over Heretics. Team Space versus 630. You put Team Space. And then overtime versus Red Reserve, you put Red Reserve. But I just feel like overall there's a
A is a higher overall average of teams.
No, because you're going to assume that Midnight are going to drastically probably fall off. I think that Team Space will probably get slightly worse.
Take Midnight out of that equation, mate, and just look.
I think a lot of teams in our group are going to
It's
change.
A.
No, it's not. I think it's B.
A. It's 100% A.
Okay.
100% A.
That's
100%.
B. I
And
reckon
we'll
it's
get
B.
to this in
Fuck all your teammate, guys. No, I'm kidding on. No, but
We'll get to this before it starts.
Myself out here, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, no problem. Well, we've only got a couple of questions, mate. Where the hell are you dipping to?
What do you mean?
I can answer a few of these.
Who the fuck cut your hair, Brice?
Well, mate, it's your mother after I was busy. Will
First
EU teams get funded to US Open events anymore? Probably not, and I don't think most of them should have been funding in the first place. It's a waste
Yes, they
of
will
money.
get funded because there's national leagues.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Outside of, I think he was talking about like private funding.
Some will. Some will. Some will. Some won't.
Yeah, someone will quite happily throw their money away.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, he's gone. That makes everything better. Let's have a look. MVP for PLQ?
my MVP would be probably Scraps.
Yeah, that's a Scraps.
Yeah, I'm going to also pick Scraps.
Because I think the
He
best...
was the most important player.
Yeah,
The most valuable player.
Yeah, I think he's the most
That
valuable.
was Scraps.
Yeah, I generally think that Hugh was the best player at PLQ.
Yeah.
But I think that Scraps was the most
More
important
valuable,
player.
yeah. More
So
valuable.
by definition of the MVP, you'd say he was the most valuable, so you'd say Scraps.
Yeah.
And I think that's
think that might
probably
be
it
it.
here for this. One last quick shout out to Watson, who retired today.
Yeah. Player who had so much potential, and then I mean, we all know.
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
I think that was the lack of discipline. I'm calling
Yeah.
that.
100%.
He had potential in AW, then he fucking threw it all down the gutter when he moved to America, and then got a massive ego.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Sure.
Well,
Good player on
this
his
was,
day.
Yeah,
all
good
right,
player.
Marky, anything to say? You know, you're.
I just say, just keep an eye out. I've learned some. I'm gonna make sure during the season that I'm getting my cock out on stream, and by that I don't mean literally. I mean I'm gonna be standing on main stage because I've copped all these coaches at the Pro League qualifier with their big binders on stream, making sure everyone's aware that they're coaching. I'm going to be making sure to do that in the league, so everyone's actually aware that I'm a coach. Because a lot of people have been asking me, "Am I a coach?" People keep going to my chat asking me this. People don't realise my team's notes are on their phones. So if you peep them on their phone at half time, I ain't on stage with a briefcase out with the notes inside, making a big deal out of it. I'm just in there on the sidelines, just chilling, watching them do absolute work. Just know when the league starts, I'm going to be on stage making a massive deal out of it. So blame all the coaches. Blame all the coaches for
He's got flares.
Blame all the
coaching
coaches
on him.
that had to make a massive deal out of them being coaches and having big binders and stuff. Shout out to you, Join Up.
It's such a sore point. How is that such a sore point?
I don't know why. Because people keep asking me if I'm a coach and saying, "Oh, but I seen Join Up on stream like, with his big binder." Meanwhile, I've got an online document.
Get your binder out, mate. Get your binder out.
Binder out. Fucking hell.
Oh my god! All right, Tunn. Anything from you?
Not right now, no. Just as normal, follow the stream. Hopefully the quality will be back next week in terms of production anyway. Oh my god. I don't know what went on this week, but we will fix it for next week, and we will have face cams. Other than that, though, keep an eye out. We will have a giveaway going on at some point next month, but we will confirm that on Twitter. Keep an eye out for that. But other than that, follow the channel, follow EGL, follow myself and Bricey for any updates on Spitfire, and we will keep you up to date as best we can. We should be back next week, either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep, we certainly will. Of course, make sure you watch MarkyB, the MarkyB on stream.
Mark, what's your Twitch? I'll host you.
The Marky
It's the MarkyB.
All right,
We're going to keep it rolling up.
when I'm streaming, make sure you tune into Brice Tacular. Other than that, thank you very much for listening. I know it's been a long one, a lot to cover, a lot of going off topic, and a lot of arguments going on as well. Hope to be back, and thank you, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Oh yeah.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.